Go ahead, Dick, you have 8 gigabytes.
Okay. Okay, the film, like you said, is Super 8 or regular 8. The basic difference between the two films, in actuality, is the size of the frame. The Super 8 frame is basically 33% bigger than a regular 8 film, so you get a higher quality image from a Super 8 than you do from a regular 8. In order to accomplish that, they had to change the sprocket holes. So the difference, one way you can tell the difference between a regular 8 and a Super 8 is the sprocket holes. The regular 8 film, as you'll notice, the sprocket holes are diagonal to the edge of the film. So if you look at it carefully, you'll see that the holes are they're huge, first of all, and secondly, well, basically they're square, but they're right next on this side of the film. So the Super 8 film, the holes are about half the size and are elongated.
Yeah, and they're further apart, right?
Not too much,
Yeah.
no. Not too much. It's
Maybe it
apart.
just looks like that because they're smaller.
Right.
Yeah.
So by making that hole smaller, they're able to increase the size of the frame, and that's how you get the better quality.
Okay.
The other way you can tell the difference between regular 8 and Super 8 is the size of the hole. The Super 8 is bigger,
Okay.
so you need to have the supply spindle right here has to accommodate that hole.
Adapter type thing?
Yeah. Super 8 projectors would have an adapter, unless it's designed strictly for the Super 8. Now, the way the film goes on the projector is, you don't want to put it on backwards, and the easiest way to tell if it's on correctly or not is that this forms the number 9. See it? The tail hanging down here? So that's your first clue. The second clue is that sometimes the film will be wound backwards.
Yeah.
Somebody who showed it previously may not have done it correctly. The film has two sides. One is shiny and one is dull.
Okay.
The shiny side stays
Inside.
into the projector. The easiest way to remember this is the dull side is the emulsion side. So if you put the emulsion of the film against the emulsion of the screen,
Okay.
the surface of the screen and the surface of the film should be
Next to each other.
next to each other. So it's emulsion to emulsion, that's the word there. So if you're looking at a film and you're not sure which way is right, the emulsion side, the dull side to
Dull
the
side out.
dull side to the
Dull
screen.
side to the screen.
Right. So
Okay, we got the 9, we got the dull side to the screen.
and that's the same that's true for both regular 8 and Super 8.
Okay.
Now you mentioned earlier about Super 8. Some Super 8 has sound film on it.
Right.
And you can designate that by looking at the one side of the film will have a little brown stripe next to it.
Okay.
It's the same recording tape that you may have seen from the old reel
Reel,
recorders. Exactly the
Just a
same.
little strip on the side?
It's a little strip on the side, and
Yeah.
it takes it does all the
Okay.
sound. It's amazing. So that will designate sound film. So you would need a sound projector in order to do that.
Right.
Regular 8 film, by and large, has no sound on it. Now, Kodak did offer some sound capabilities when it first came out, but it was an extremely expensive operation, and it only lasted a short while, and nobody really took advantage of it. Okay, so the idea now is to put the film into the projector in a way that will flow easily. That's the whole secret. Now, you want to get it through this sprocket here,
Yep.
make a loop, and we'll pull this out so you can see. Bring it down past the film gate, down underneath around here,
Yep.
and then around here, go way around here, and it comes up onto the
I
tape
got
spool.
you. So it's through here, down there, up there.
Right.
Yep.
So what we'll do is we'll thread that through manually. Now,
Yep.
some projectors are
Just gotta
automatic.
Feed it,
Yeah.
yeah.
But even sometimes that doesn't always work to be the best way. So you snap it in place, check to make sure that it's
On
locked
the-
in, it's in the sprockets.
Right, on the sprockets before you lock
And then you want to leave a little bit of a loop up here.
So don't pull it tight.
So don't pull it tight like that. No, don't do that. Leave some loop up there and leave some loop on the bottom.
Yep.
So we'll just put it like this and see where it works.
Okay, all the sprockets and
Yeah.
tap it down.
Yeah. Leave those four thumbs here.
Yeah, do you want me to knock it down once you get it wrong?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, come on.
Just give me the word.
There you go. So we're kind of shy of the loop down below.
Oh, okay, so we need a loop. Yeah.
Loop to loop. Loop to a little bit. There.
Yeah,
So it looks nice and clean. Nice loop here, nice loop here. We're good.
yeah.
Good. Coming around here now.
Now you're
This
on.
projector, if you turn it on back here, the switches are in the back here. We have one for the motor and one for the lamp.
Uh-huh.
So we'll turn the motor on first, just so we can,
Do a little.
right. Now we have forward and reverse, and this controls forward and reverse. So if you turn it this way, it's gonna come, it's gonna go
Yeah.
through. So we'll bring it all the way up and lock it into the take-up spool, which is here. Now. Oh, come on.
It's easy.
Now, this particular spool has an automatic pickup on it as well.
Automatic pickup.
Meaning that all you do is lay the film on there and it'll grab automatically. It's got little teeth built into this.
Once you put it in there, yeah.
Right. So if you, so that's the way it's supposed to go through.
Oh, so it keeps that loop, doesn't get tight.
Right.
Down here, it's not disappearing.
And the reason you need the loop is because the film is, there's a little lever in there that brings it down one frame at a time, it stops, ejects it, and then moves it down to the next one. So it's a stop and go situation, so you need that loop in there to accommodate that,
Yeah, okay.
that fluctuation, okay? So, we got the movie film going, and now we turn the lamp on. What's wrong? Now we need to focus the lens,
Okay.
and you do that with just turning it.
Okay, can you move a little bit
There
to
we
the
go.
left?
There we go.
They look pretty good. Now, if you want, you can stop, play
Start.
that reverse.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Actually, when you play it in reverse, the action is slowed down,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so it's hard
Okay.
to. Now here, up here, you have a rheostat. You can speed it up,
Okay.
slow it down as you wish.
Okay.
So the way to tell this proper speed
Yeah.
is just to look at the image to see which way it's going.
What do you mean which way it's going?
Well, if it's moving at the correct speed, if a person goes real fast.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, it shouldn't look jerky or.
Right.
Okay.
So there we are. Now, when you're not using the projector, but you want to keep it running, turn the lamp off. Now, this uses a lamp that it's not a, currently lamps are the quartz halogen lamps.
Yeah.
These are the old style filament lamps. And they're still good, you know.
I remember our old projector, we went through lamps like so quickly.
A big factor, if you want to sit
Yeah.
down over here, get you, a big factor in prolonging the life of the bulb is to let it cool
Yeah.
before you move the projector.
Okay.
Okay, so when you're finished showing the movies, it's best to let the projector sit, let the motor run for a while, if it's comfortable. I mean, if you're talking
Yeah.
in the room, it's hard. But let the projector sit and cool off, because that filament is very soft in there, and
Yeah.
any jarring in it will cause it to break.
Okay.
So you shorten the life of the bulb that way.
Yeah.
Another thing that happens too is when you put the bulb in the projector,
I don't want to touch it.
you don't want to touch it, because the oil on your fingers will
Yeah.
penetrate that glass.
I've
and
got some
cause a
halogen
bubble.
lamps in my kitchen, and yeah, same thing.
Same thing, yeah, you don't want to touch them.
Okay.
But if you do happen to touch them, isopropyl alcohol, wipe it off a
Exactly,
little
yeah.
bit, and you're good to go.
Okay.
It's not a problem.
So you just want that oil from your...
Right,
Yeah.
yeah. And if you leave it on, it's going to penetrate into the glass,
Okay.
and will shorten the life of the glass. And then when it heats up the sides, it'll form a bubble, and it'll blow
Yeah.
a lot quicker.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay.
So, getting it focused, a film of this size will last you about 12 to 15 minutes,
Okay.
depending on how fast you run it.
And these are the 5-inch or?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a 5-inch, yeah. So,
Okay.
Super 8 film projector, basically the same thing, but chances are it's going to be an automatic feed.
Right.
You won't have the loops. that you-
Yeah, I seem to remember we just put it in and it would,
Right.
yeah.
That-
But this doesn't seem too bad.
No, it's straightforward, but you see how the loop
Yeah.
disappeared here a little bit, which is okay.
Yeah, I noticed it disappeared kind of at the bottom.
That's okay. But
That's all right.
it needs that room to flutter, because
Okay.
it's stopping and starting.
Okay.
And of course, here you have an elevator, you can raise it
Yeah.
up as you wish.
And shutter?
And if you want to, you can stop it by putting it in neutral, and then you can turn this manually
Uh-huh.
to be able to show one frame at a time, if you wish.
Oh, you just go boom, boom?
Yeah,
Okay.
if you wish.
Advance.
Because sometimes you look at it and say, well,
Hey, what was that?
what was that? And you back it up one or two and you say, oh, okay.
Okay, yeah,
You
okay.
know, so that's a tool that's there if you wish.
Yeah, sure.
Then, of course, you've got the rheostat up here to speed it up or
Right.
slow it down, however you wish. And then you have also another little button in here where if the film is real dark, you can hit that button and it'll up the voltage in the bulb
Oh, I
to make it a
see.
little bit brighter. But don't do that too long, because
you might burn the bulb out.
You burn the bulb
Yeah,
out a lot
of course.
quicker that way, because you're throwing a lot more heat in
Yeah,
it.
yeah, sure.
So that's pretty much the straightforward of it.
Okay.
Do you have any other questions about?
I don't think so. I think, let's say I used to run the projector a little bit, long time ago, and it was somewhat like this, but I think I got it.
Yeah, the old regular rates bring back a lot of memories.
Yeah. Yeah, no, we've got stuff from 50s and 60s, basically, yeah. Some of the 16 millimeter, too.
Yeah. Now, 16 millimeter is twice as big as an 8
Yeah,
millimeter,
right.
obviously. So the quality is far superior to
Oh, really? Okay.
to an 8 millimeter,
Okay.
because it's twice as big.
Yeah.
And the sound on 16 millimeter is all optical, whereas on Super 8, I'm talking about the sound stripe on
Mhm.
there. In the 16 millimeter, the sound is what you call optical. If you look at a 16 millimeter film, in order to tell whether or not it's sound, is on one side of it, you'll see a very jagged track. It'll be clear, and then amongst, in the track itself, will be like a dark line that has a lot of little jigs like this. And that's an optical beam going through that film as the film goes through the projector. And it records it
Right.
and it converts that to sound.
Okay.
It's really not the best sound, but it's good enough, and it did the job for many
Back
years.
then, yeah, sure.
And even in the 35 millimeter cameras that Hollywood uses, it's pretty much the same thing.
Oh.
They've just perfected it a little bit more.
Okay.
So the system works well, and so 16 16 millimeter was a good introduction into the movie industry, because people who had the bucks could afford the equipment
Mm-hmm.
to buy the camera, the film, the processing, and the projector.
All right.
And it was not cheap, but it did some excellent work.
Okay. Well, great. Just this.
Yeah, when you come to the end of the film, of course, you want to rewind it from here back into here.
Just hit that button,
So you would take the end of the film, hook it up, slide it into the slot, and then turn this into reverse. And then if you want to do it quickly, that's where you hit that button there. It's a rapid rewind, take it back.
So it would do it in reverse anyway. This is just kind of a fast reverse.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
All right.
But the film won't be going through the projector. It'll be going directly from this reel to this reel.
Oh, okay. So when you rewind, don't do that.
Right. So this.
So it just goes right across.
Right.
Okay. All right. Anything else you need to know?
This should about do it. The cord is detachable, of course.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, that goes in there.
no problem. Yeah.
Okay.
Dick, this is what, an 8mm camera?
This is an 8mm projector, right?
A projector?
Yep.
And the Super 8s would not work in this camera at all.
Right, right.
Huh.
The sprocket arrangement is different.
Yeah.
It just won't.
Yeah, so I've got a combination of 8, Super 8, and
Yeah.
16.
Ooh, wow.
So I can do the, kind of from the 50s to the 60s, so
Yeah.
that I can do all the 8.
8mm, yeah.
See, we're just trying to get a sense, you know, this one is nice because it's labeled. Most of them aren't labeled. They're just reels, and we have no idea what's on them, you know.
Well,
So that's this exercise. We're trying to figure out what's on them and then bring them up here and get them.
well, we can save you a lot of work
Yeah,
if you want.
yeah,
What we could do is take everything that you have and put it into memory,
yeah.
okay? You look at it and you can edit. You can say, okay, because as you play the DVD back, there's a row of numbers that appears on your player.
Right, and you can.
So you say from number 482 to 697, delete that.
Yeah, right.
So we can come back and go into that, find that exact time period,
Mhm.
and cut that out
Right.
if you want. So it saves a lot of this kind of stuff in your part.
Right.
Also, you can say, well, okay, from this time period of 1002 to 6005, we want to play that first.
Right. So you can separate things.
Do all that.
on the DVD.
So you
Yeah,
judge
right.
all that around.
Right. Well, part of the fun is though is
Absolutely.
having a little movie night so we can watch some of these
Absolutely.
on the old
Cold
projector.
beer, cold beer and a bunch of popcorn.
Yeah, so that's what we're doing tonight.
Yep, yep.
Try and see, and then because some of them I know some of the old movies they were just bad.
Yeah.
You know, my dad maybe just first got it and completely out of exposure,
Right.
and you know. So.